We have an interesting situation here. David Hogg, in an effort to remain relevant, has decided to make Smith and Wesson a target. Back when the assault weapon law expired on the federal level, Massachusetts passed a similar bill that is effective in Massachusetts alone. David Hogg has decreed that Smith and Wesson should apply that law in all their operations. I did not check on whether Smith and Wesson manufactures weapons that might be covered by the Massachusetts law. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that they don't sell weapons in Massachusetts that are prohibited by that law. That isn't enough for the spindly armed gun control activist. He insists that the strictest gun control laws be national in scope. There are even some suggesting that Hogg's threat to destroy Smith and Wesson if they didn't comply was some sort of illegal or even terrorist act. Well, technically it was. Not one worth worrying about, true, given his level of influence. But if someone was determined, then Hogg could get into legal trouble over this. Just like how he could get into legal trouble for some comments he made that even Michael Moore found over the top and went too far when he tried to encourage Canadians to donate to U.S. gun control candidates. Hogg is too young to remember this, but there is no way Smith and Wesson will give in to the pressure. Not going to happen. See, long before Hogg was born, back in the 1990s, Smith and Wesson learned that they should not make a deal like this. They learned it hard, and they haven't forgotten it. At that time, long ago, suing firearms manufacturers as if they were liable for the acts committed by purchasers of firearms was actually an issue. Cases were being filed by cities. Those cases were being dismissed, but it seemed like this would become a big trend that might eventually put a financial hurt on the companies. Having to defend the same case over and over does cost quite a bit of money after all. What was needed was a definitive ruling on whether or not the cases as a whole even had merit. Then along came President Bill Clinton. He offered a deal to the manufacturers. If they included several design changes and safety features, he would make sure those particular companies are safe from frivolous lawsuits. At first, the companies refused. The Clinton administration believed that if one of them signed on, the rest would fall like dominoes. Eventually, one of them did sign on. That one was Smith and Wesson. Did the rest fall like dominoes? No, not even close. Gun buyers stopped buying Smith and Wesson. Unable to move merchandise, gun shops stopped carrying them. Some on the gun control side tried to help by giving Smith and Wesson preference in police purchases, but initiatives by opponents of the deal squashed those attempts in general. The few that got through weren't enough to make up for the fall in sales. The Clinton administration contemplated antitrust action against the many independent gun shops as well as the NRA, but ultimately decided against it. Smith and Wesson's sales plummeted. Their stock price plummeted. Eventually, just to survive, they had a reorganization bankruptcy, were acquired by another company, and pulled out of the agreement with Bill Clinton. The other companies never did fall like dominoes. David Hogg is no Bill Clinton. He lacks the stature. He lacks the influence. Does he really think he is going to succeed where President Bill Clinton failed? Bill Clinton was president after all. Does he really think that his walking 50 miles is more important than something the president does? Especially against the company that learned not to make those deals at all.